Hi, this session is on using trigonometry to find unknown side lengths. Now, just to recap, the three trigonometric ratios are sine, cosine, and tan. And they're just written in an abbreviated way. And a way to remember this is this saying up here. We've got so, ka, toa. Okay, it's really important you remember this order because sine is opposite over a hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is opposite over adjacent. And you have to remember this when trying to find unknown side lengths. Okay, so for our first question, it's asking us to find m to one decimal place. And for all the questions we do, we'll just be doing it to one decimal place. If we have a look at our triangle, we can see it's a right angle triangle, and they have to be right angle triangles at this stage with trigonometry. Now, here with my right angle triangle, I know the opposite, the right angle, is always the hypotenuse. Okay, so I'm going to put a H there. It's really important to be able to label your triangle depending on where now the angle is. Here I have 38 degrees down there, and that's going to tell me what M is. M is now my adjacent because it's right next to 38. The opposite would have been this line here, but I have no value there, so I'm not going to use that. So I'm going to put an A there for adjacent. So the areas, the two lines I'm focusing on are my hypotenuse, where I have the 8.1, and the adjacent, where my M is. And the angle between them is 38 degrees. Now, which trigonometric ratio has A and H? I know that the cosine, so cos, I'll just write the formula down, is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, always write it out so it's nice and clear and so you don't make a mistake. And if it helps, you can state your variables. So my hypotenuse here, H is equal to 8.1. I can see it clearly. And M, which is, A, my adjacent is going to be my M. So I'm now going to substitute these values into my equation. Sorry, it just disappeared. So I now have cosine, and of course the angle is 38 degrees. So cosine, so in here I put 38, is equal to adjacent, which is M, over my hypotenuse, which is 8.1. Okay, so everything is now has been substituted into my equation. And now I just want to point out something right now. Here we have the cosine of 38. Students get confused because they see letters and they think, oh, they're unknown variables. This whole thing here, cosine 38, is just a number. I don't know why it keeps disappearing. So I'll do it again, cosine 38. It's just a number. Okay, you put it into your calculator, you'll get roughly 6.3828. Okay, but don't round it off here. Okay, we're going to leave it till last, so our answer is more accurate. Because if I rounded my decimal off here, then my answer won't be as accurate. So just remember, it's just a number, okay? Now I have to solve for M. I want to get M by itself. Now it's up to you how you want to go about solving this. I'll do it a longer way for this example, but later on I'll just do it a quicker way. And what I mean is you can just go, for example, 8.1, you can go times 8.1 on both sides, but I'm going to rewrite it. So I like having my variable on this side, so I have M over 8.1 is equal to cosine 38. I haven't changed anything, I've just rewritten it. So this went on that side and my cosine went on the other side. Nothing's been changed, okay? And if you prefer doing that, then that's fine. I'm now going to solve for M, so I'm going to go times 8.1, which will cancel out on this side, and times 8.1. So just so we can see it nice and clearly, I'll rewrite it. I have M is equal to cosine 38, which I'll be putting into my calculator soon, times 8.1. This will give me my answer. Now, when you put it into your calculator, please make sure that you know the setting is in degrees, not radians. We changed it in class. So your calculator may give you a different answer if it's not set to degrees. So just keep that in mind. And find the trigonometric ratio, the cosine button on your calculator. Push cosine 30. Don't forget to put the brackets and close your brackets. If you don't close your brackets, you'll get the wrong answer as well. And then times 8.1. Make sure this is the times 8.1 is outside the bracket. And then I'll just squeeze the answer up here. You should get on your calculator 6.38289 and so on. I think it keeps going. We have to round to 1 decimal place. So to 1 decimal place, I look at my 3, which is my first decimal place here. The number next to it is an 8, so I have to round up. So I end up with 6.4. There are no units, so I'll just leave it at 6.4. So that is my final answer. Okay, for our second question, it's asking us to find P, and this, let's have a look at our triangle. So we have our angled triangle. The angle here is 59. I've got my right angle just over here. So let's label our triangle. The opposite of this angle here, I know the opposite goes that way, is P. So I'll be working with the opposite side. My hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. Do I have a value on this side? No, I don't. So my hypotenuse is not part of this question. But this 0.6 is the adjacent is adjacent to adjacent to 59. Sorry about the interruption. So that's adjacent. So my opposite was here. Okay, so I can see I have O and A. Which trigonometric ratio contains O and A? I know it's tan. Or I've got my TOA. If you always write that down if you forget. So tan, just write the formula down, is equal to opposite over adjacent. Okay, and if it helps, state your variables. My A is equal to 0.6. My P is equal to my O for opposite is equal to P, and my angle is 59. And sub all of those values into this. So tan, the angle is 59 degrees. I'll put brackets because that's how we're putting it into my calculator. Is equal to opposite, which is P, over my adjacent, which is 0.6. That's nice and clear. And now I'm going to solve this. I'm going to do it the faster way. You can rewrite it and solve it how you like, but I'm just going to go times by 0.6. That cancels out. What I'll do to one side, I must do to the other. Times by 0.6. I'll rewrite it. So now I know P is by itself. So I'll have P is equal to tan 59 degrees times 0.6. Okay? Now all you're going to do is put that into your calculator. Just make sure you enter it properly. Don't forget your brackets. And we end up with 0.9985. And I want you to round this off to 1 decimal place. Now this one might trick you because we've got a 9 in the first decimal place and also the second. So to round this one off, if you're not sure, so I've got my 9 here and I've got a 9 here. So I have to add a 1 or round up to that 9. But the problem is 9 plus 1 is 10. So what you do is just get your decimal ready. Okay, so 9 plus 1 is 10. You put a 0 down, but add the 1 on that side there. What is 1 plus 0? I end up with 1 whole. I'm going to leave it as 1.0 to show that the first decimal place is just 0. But really, my answer is just 1. Okay, so that's what you should have gotten for this one here. For my next question, I have to find x. Now, this question here is going to be a little bit different when solving the equations. You'll see what I mean in a minute. All right, so our first step is to identify all the sides. Okay, so I'll start with my right angle. Here's my right angle. Opposite that right angle, I can see X. Okay. So that's my hypotenuse. So I'll be using a H in my working out. And then I've got, let's see, the opposite of this angle here, which is 9.1. I also have the opposite. So there is no adjacent here given to us. It's the opposite and the hypotenuse. Now, what has O and H? I know that sine, or so, is opposite over hypotenuse. So write that out. And now let's substitute our values. I'm just going to state them here. So H is going to be X, O is going to be 9.1, and my angle is going to be 31 degrees. Okay, so I sub them all in. Just change my color. So I've got sine, say in there goes 31. Whoop, it's equal to O, which is 9.1 over H, which is X. Now you can see how this one is different. Where is my X or my unknown variable? It's on the bottom, okay? So I have to solve this by trying to get X on top. Now you can do it a number of ways. For example, I can just go times by X, and that cancels out, and times this side by X, and I end up with X times sine 31 is equal to 9.1. Then I have to divide by, because I've got a multiplication here, I have to do the opposite. So I divide by sine 31. That cancels out. Divide by sine 31. I'll just continue up here. So I end up with X is finally by itself, and I have 9.1 divided by sine 31. And don't forget, sine 31 is just a number. And you put that into your calculator and you get your answer. The other way of doing it was, I'll just clear the page. The other way you can solve this is using the cross multiplication method. And that basically gives you the same thing. You have this sine 31 over 1. It's an invisible 1. And now to do the cross multiplication method, all you do is get the denominators and multiply them with the numerators on the other side. So I'll go X times sine 31 and 1 times 9.1. And you multiply them, or you cross multiply. So really, I don't have to go 1 times 9.1 because I know it's 9.1. But the whole point is X goes on top. So I end up with X times sine 31 is equal to 9.1. So we've got the same thing in the end. And you can do it either way. I like using this method, but whatever is easier for you and you're more comfortable with. But it's good to know more than one. So divide by sine 31. Divide by sine 31 on both sides. Okay, and X is equal to 9.1 divided by sine 31. Now enter this into your calculators. We'll do the answer up here. Whoops. So X is equal to 17.7 to 1 decimal place. Okay, I can't remember if there were units. If there were, just add them in. But we are rounding off to 1 decimal place. Okay, with this question, you can have a go first and see how you go. And I'll get started. So with this question here, let's just figure out what trigonometric ratio we need to be using. So here's my angle over here. And opposite the angle, I can see I have 13. So I'm working with the opposite. There's also the X here, which is adjacent to my angle. So I have an A. And I can see there's my right angle. If I look at my right angle and my hypotenuse over there, there is no value there. So there's nothing there. I am not using my hypotenuse. So O and A, I know is TOA, which is tan. The angle is equal to opposite over adjacent. Okay, now let's state our variables. So O is going to be 13, A is going to be X, and my angle is going to be 42. Nice and clear. Okay, so let's substitute the values in. So tan, the angle is 42, is equal to opposite, O, which is 13, over A, for adjacent, which is X. Now I can see my X is on the bottom, and we know how to solve this. So I'm going to go just times the X over there. I know there's a 1 here, but it's invisible. So I end up with X times tan 42, which equals 13. Okay, that's the way I like to do it. All right. Now, because I'm multiplying over here, I have to divide by tan 42. Whoops. And don't forget, tan 42 is just a number. That cancels out. I must divide this side by tan 42. And I end up with X is equal to 13 divided by tan 42. Now you just enter this into your calculator. I want you to round it off to 1 decimal place. So your calculator should show you 14.438 to 1 decimal place. There's my first decimal place. The number after it is a 3. Because it's 4 or less, I don't round up. So I've got 14.4. My units were meters, so don't forget that. I'm going to highlight that. Oop, they disappeared. But it's 14.4 meters. So that should have been your final answer. So that's how we find unknown side lengths. So you just need to continue practicing, and I'll give you some questions from your textbook. Thank you.